Very good. Thank you very much for having us. Clarence did a great job. Very powerful, thought-provoking presentation that he gave to us this afternoon, and I'm excited to read more and hear more of what he has. He was on Channel 5 this morning. I was not. So if you're thinking about getting your $25 worth, you may have already got it. I mean, I don't feel bad about it. But listen, my name is James Chappel, as he said. I work for OG&E, and I'm going to talk a little bit about OG&E corporations being involved in communities and that type thing. And I'm excited to do that because I really have a strong opinion about some of those type things. But what I'm going to try to do today, and I also appreciate the people from OG&E that are here. I appreciate you coming to witness me, even though you know all about me. And I do have a resume. I didn't bring it. It's all about me. You'll probably be sleeping, so you probably don't want to read it. But if you need one, give me a card or something. I'll email it to you. But listen, I want to tell you a story. I'm going to use a story to kind of illustrate corporate giving, corporate involvement, those type things. And I'm going to use a story that involves my grandfather, K.P. Chappel. His name is Kirkpatrick Chappel, and we called him KP for Kirkpatrick, KP. He had a brother, Kirk Daniel, that we called KD. So there was the original KD in Magnolia, Arkansas, way before Kevin Durant. But the story I'm going to tell you is about a home church in Holmesmere Baptist Church in Magnolia, Arkansas. Small church, small congregation, but it had a very large yard. Lots of lawn to mow and all that. And the story I'm going to tell you is how my grandfather, KP, volunteered me and my brother as preteens to be the lawn service for the church. Our job was to mow the church lawn, and the deal he made with the deacons was that he would get the yard mowed if they would buy the equipment and all the supplies, that he would get his grandsons to mow the yard. So he tells us about it. We're all excited. And that, we got our first job outside of working from him and my dad, where we didn't get paid. And now we got another job working for the church where he's already agreed that they don't have to pay him. They don't have to pay us. They don't have to pay him. They don't have to pay us. So we're going to volunteer our services to the church. And the thing that I wanted to talk about is the wisdom that my grandfather had. And I will tell you that he would have been 99 years old on March the 3rd. He's not with us, so I couldn't verify all the things that I'm saying as wisdom for him. So I'm looking back that many years ago, and I'm projecting this wisdom on him, right? So we're not verifying that. He would have been 99 if he'd been living. But one of the things his wisdom was, membership has responsibilities to be taken. If you're a member, his deal was, we're members of the church. There's responsibilities that need to be taken. They're not mandated. There's no law. There's no bylaws. There's no anything that says these things need to be, or you have to do these things to be a member of our congregation. These things are there for the taking. And those that are members of that group, and we can say church, but in our case, we're going to talk about communities. Those things are there for some of us to pick up. If we consider ourselves members of the community, those things are out there for us to pick up and take. And so what he did for us, he took those things on our behalf, and the other thing he knew that the financial resources may never be enough. In our small church, he didn't know that we would ever be able to pay for a lawn service group or anything like that. But he knew he had two grandsons that had a lot of energy, a lot of availability, and a little bit of maturity. Maturity meaning that you could put them on a lawnmower and they wouldn't cut their fingers and toes and all that kind of stuff, and the church had some kind of liability for that. So he knew we had a little bit of, so he volunteered us to do that. And then he also knew that gifts of service, the things that we could do, the talents, the abilities that I have that I can project into a congregation or into a community, they're immediate. They're needed right now, but the long-term benefits of those, the returns on those things are long-term, meaning that they may not pay off today, but they pay off. And his term he would use with us is he said, the Lord will bless you. Meaning that we're not expecting the church members to bless us, right? So you're not going to get paid. That's pretty much what he's telling you. You're not going to get paid. Nobody's going to pay you, right? So the Lord's going to pay you. You know, and so that was his way of making it right with us, that you're not going to get paid. And then it said, and he also believed, and I'm projecting this on him, that if he taught us, that we would discover our own fulfillment in the things that we do. If he kind of volunteered us to go do this job, at some point, we would take it on as ours. And the fulfillment and all that we got from doing these responsibilities, we would appreciate him and grow to love him, and we would do them on our own without his prodding and all that. And sure enough, me and my brother Douglas, he's Clarence height. He may be adopted, but because I know my dad and my mom, they're not 6 foot. Our lesson, the lesson we learned is that my grandfather's wisdom was true. The things that he thought proved true over time. I'm 57 years old. They're true. And his project became our project. It was only a few trips of him taking us to the church, sitting under the tree, watching us mow and do all that, and when we finished, making sure we put everything back, loading us up, taking us home. At some point, we were driving ourselves. It was our project. It was our undertaking. It was our contribution to the congregation. It was us not expecting to be paid, right? It was us expecting the Lord to bless us and that type thing. So it became our deal, and we found our own fulfillment. And I can remember distinctly when we were doing the yard, we would drive in off of Highway 371, going west towards Taylor, Arkansas. And as you come up on the church, you could see the church before you got to it. And Sunday morning, we'd mow Saturday, do all this hard work. Sunday morning, you show up, and there'd be dew on the ground, and the big lawn, small light-colored red brick church with a white steeple, be sitting kind of down the hill a little bit, and it looked beautiful. But the yard looked great, and we took pride in that. And we especially took pride in it when my mom would say, the church looks good. You guys did a good job. Or members of the congregation would say, our church looks as good as any of those in town. We were in a rural area. They would make those comments, and me and my brother, we would beam because that's us. That's us. We're contributing members of this church. No money. All the jobs we have don't pay. So we don't have any money. So we found, and then it said we started a legacy, meaning that the things that my grandfather taught us to do then and there, that lives on today with me. The groups that I'm a part of, jobs need to be done. If I'm a member of this group, something needs to be done. I have the talent, I have the ability, I have the means. Go ahead and hand that to me. I'll get it, right? So that's kind of, and it says that we inspired others. How many know that after we finished our term, I go to college, my brother goes to the military, he spent 23 years in the military, special forces guy, big time military guy. It inspired others. There was other young men waiting their turn because we were the big kids doing the big job. They were looking to grow up to where I get to take that on. So we inspired others, and I say that continues on. Since that time, I'm married. My wife, Claudia Chappel, we've been married 34 years. 34 years, yes. 34 years. No, listen, no, that's true. We've been dating. Sandra, don't tell her. We've been dating 37 years. And we continue to date now. She's not here. She's a support worker for the Norman Public Schools, so they're kind of in a little bit of a situation right now. I have a daughter. It's a day-to-day deal, drama. But my wife Claudia and I have a daughter. She's 30 years old. She's a nurse at the Health Science Center, and I can tell you that if you go back and look at our resumes, you'll see individual and joint projects that we do. And that's not bragging. That's just kind of what we learned to do, and as a family, we do things together in our community and around, and my daughter's kind of taken that on to do also. One of the things I wanted to mention, I'm an engineer by profession, University of Arkansas, December 1983, electrical engineer, name's in the sidewalk. Year 2016, I was inducted into the University of Arkansas Academy of Electrical Engineers. A proud honor. And there was like 8 of us inducted, and when they inducted us, they started listing out all of the accomplishments. And the first guy gets up, and they list out all the stuff he's done with Raytheon and all these companies, discovering all this technical stuff. And I'm thinking like, man, I hope I'm next, because this is going to get ugly by the time they get to me, because I haven't done any of that stuff. I mean, I don't have any life-changing anything to talk about. I haven't discovered any new anything. This is going to be tough. But what they did do, my resume was all about service, community involvement, and those type things. And I got the same applause that everybody else got. It was good that I was number 2, because it wanes off as they go on the list. So you want to be early if you can, while the people are still in tune and applauding. But I didn't feel bad after they kind of listed the things, because I have done some stuff, right? I have been involved in some really unique things in my community, marks that are left. And one thing I'll mention too about my grandfather before I move on, the pulpit in our church right now today was built by my grandfather. It has to be like 50, 60 years old. Like I say, he would have been 99. He's a carpenter. Built churches, built homes. As a black man, he did all these things. And the pulpit today is there. And if you think about it, and I think about this oftentimes, 50, 60 years of Southern Baptist black ministers pounding on it. I mean, they're pounding on it, and it's still standing today. It's still standing today. It's still standing. If you go to our church, the quality and the pride, and that church has been renovated several times since then, but the remaining deal is the pulpit inside. All new pews, they've redone the baptism, they've done all that stuff, new instruments and all that, but the remaining, and that's a legacy to Kirkpatrick Chappel. OG&E, let me go ahead and finish with, this clock doesn't work. I got all day. OG&E, I've been with OG&E also 34 years, January 5th, and I say that the things that I learned growing up are mirrored by my company. OG&E's, one of our belief and value statements is we give our time and energy to better the community where we live and work. And that makes a good fit for me, because I believe those type things. I believe if I'm a part of it, then I ought to be involved in the good or the bad of it. And I think if you would look at I think as a description of OG&E, we're described as a utility company that provides electric service. But I say as a better description of us is we're a service company that provides utility services. And I also tell you that I have not verified that with any of our corporate marketing people so that's probably not an official statement to be printed on anything or anything like that. That's a James Chappel. And I'll say this to finish. In my community, we are part of your community. In my community, there's 82 active members. I live in Norman. There's 82 active OG&E members that live in Norman. We're a part of the community. There's 52 retiree families that live in Norman. So when you say OG&E, we're the utility company, but we're also a part of the community. And if we're a part of the community, then we have buy-in. We have responsibility, and we take up those responsibilities. I kind of went back through my list, taking on responsibilities. Somebody's got to take those things. We have our line crews, Gary Parks, and I'm going to name drop Gene Malacott and probably leave out somebody, Donnie Farrell. They have a team of people that do Meals on Wheels. We have our members are out in the community doing those type things. Immediate services, things that have long-term benefit. And Artina, are you telling me your name is Artina, or are you telling us Tina? It's Tina. Tina and John Coons, they do a 4th grade safety program where we're teaching young people about electrical safety. We've had our executives in junior achievement in classrooms in some of the schools that Clarence talked about in Norman. We have our executives in those classes. Rick Hill here has taught in those. He and I teach 5th grade junior achievement. Though all those things we do have long-term benefit. Those young people hopefully won't end up in some of those. That's a heart-wrenching thought. Discovering our own opportunities. The things that we do at OG&E, we do other things on our own. You know, we have members that coach and do all kinds of training. One of our retired engineers, Fred Martin, he does taxes for people at the Senior Citizen Center in Norman. Goes over, does taxes all day long. He and his partners, they get trained up on all the latest or whatever, and they go do taxes for people. We have one of our retirees, Mike Sheriff, who does American history reenactments. You know, going into the schools teaching, and so taking all those talents and abilities that we have and putting them to good use wherever we are. So the truth is, we are a part of the community, and all 2,500 of us employees are in your communities. We're taking on responsibilities. We're being a part of you because it is a part of us. And we're in 276 communities in Oklahoma and Arkansas. Thank you very much.